Hi, I'm Chris Magus, and this is my series, How I Believe It to Be. Today I want to talk about the veils. The way I believe it to be, and from my understanding and from what I've seen, and the things that have been presented to me over a period of time, the veils are these films that cloud the soul. So when if you live a life where you don't generate any karma's a good word for a veil, actually. The So your soul stays bright and luminous, and you stay in that higher luminous state, and you when it comes to the time where your body is no longer here, your soul has developed minimal clouding. It's not possible to be here unclouded, but it's possible to. There's a range, or there's a scale of a a soul with very minimal clouding, where there's no karma's being built up. So the veils are thinner, and the person's more luminous in the world. And then on the other side is the souls that have built up an enormous amount of karma to a point where their souls almost doesn't shine. It's almost no light, and that is the spectrum of souls that are more likely to be dragged into a darker realm. A darker soul isn't able to drag an enlightened soul into a darker realm, because it would expose the fire of God to that darker realm, and that just puts light into the realm, and the whole thing falls apart. So that would never happen. And likewise, a darker soul trying to move into a lighter realm would do the same thing, and the light would illuminate through the darkness. The light is always going to enlighten shine through the dark. That's the way it is. Then there's the other thing of the pain. The removing the veils is a painful process, going through removing karma. If you've built up a lot of karma, and you've done things that are deceptive, or that are cheating, lying, those sorts of things are part of the pathway, all the way through to physical things, like souls that have killed and done things down those pathways, and everything's on a scale. It's about that being able to release those layers, those veils, that karma, and there's a process that's involved in doing that, and that's the process of removing these veils, or in re-enlightening the soul. So a soul that's in a very dark place can look inside and start to work towards that light. That spark is the thing it illuminates us from the inside out. So as the outside gets more veiled, the light within gets more shaded, like like a light bulb, and you keep covering it with more and more layers of fabric, the light gets duller and duller and duller until you get to enough layers, and it would be very hard to see the light coming through. You would have it will might shine slightly in a really dark place, but as you start then taking those layers off, the light gets brighter, and those layers are all that that build up in that mental emotional body that builds those clouds, that builds those layers, that builds those veils, and the pathway to release those veils is going through the actual trauma of creating those veils, facing those truths, and looking truly at yourself as who you actually are, and not something that you're trying to be to create these veils. There's a part of everyone that will want to resist when we go to do something that is going to create a veil. There's that part, and it's that overcoming of that part that tries to resist that allows the veil to be created. To remove the veil is to go back to that part that was trying to resist, and acknowledging and actually facing that part, facing the consequences of this, of the pathway. So that's where a darker realm, or a denser realm, or a an angled realm compared to a expansive, you know, clouds compared to glass, those sorts of, shattered glass compared to a puffy cloud. It's that sort of thing, that feeling of unit, of expansiveness and peace, internal peace, compared to that feeling of pain and suffering, and that's the pathway, that the difference between the two pathways is and the layers can be thin and they can be thick, and some things will create thicker layers, and other things will create thinner layers, and enough thin layers will still be a thick layer, and likewise a couple of thick layers will be a really thick layer. So there's that variation. So souls that exist in this world will sit within a scale, and if they're too enlightened, or if they're enlightened to a certain point, they will be in a luminous realm, but another place where we don't have bodies. We're a different kind of existence, a more balanced existence compared to a less balanced existence, a denser existence, a more pain and torment, and that expansive state of all those things that we don't like experiencing, we don't like feeling, is into the darker realm, and all those experiences of things that we enjoy and things that we get a sense of peace and calm out into the luminous realm. And the veils are the things that cloud the soul enough to create a place where the veils can continue to be added. And a soul that is here, that has no body, for example, will sit within that spectrum, and there'll be different levels of clouding, and the mental emotional body of a heavily veiled soul can be the prey of darker souls again, and because there's enough clouding that can happen to that soul, as opposed to a brighter, more enlightened soul. It's not possible for a darker soul to consume that soul, to consume that mental emotional body of that soul, or that essence of that path. So I say, drag screaming into hell and floating peacefully into heaven. It's that pathway, and it's all about the build up of that mental emotional masking that those veils that cloud the soul